The purpose of this video is to walk through recording a service in Communicare. A service is any encounter with a patient or any work done on their behalf that requires notes to be recorded whether the patient is present or not. This video has been recorded using a demonstration version of Communicare Electronic Health Record and practice management software. The patients and information in the demonstration database are all fictitious. As Communicare is a highly customizable program, the demonstration software represents a single example setup. Your local Communicare database may have different customizations and choices of items. For more information about the setup at your organisation, please talk to your local administrator. It is important to note that your username and password given to you by the organisation you are working with will allow you different viewing rights and system rights depending on the requirements of your role. What you can see and do in Communicare may vary because of this. For more information, please speak to your local administrator. To record a service, log into Communicare with your username and password. A service can be started by double-clicking on a waiting patient from service recording and opening their clinical record, or directly by clicking on the clinical record button on the toolbar and searching for the patient using any of the search fields available. The record may open, or you may be presented with a list of services already recorded for the day, such as this one. It is vital to understand the question being asked at this time before proceeding. A patient can have multiple services in a day, and they may have multiple providers involved as well. Check carefully the list of services that are presented to you to choose from. You will need to decide if you are part of the existing service or if a new service needs to be recorded. For example, a patient may be on their second visit, or they may have had an earlier service recorded with a different mode, such as a home visit or a no client contact entry. It is important to understand this properly, as choosing the correct service ensures that not only patient records make sense, but your reports to funding and other bodies will be populated correctly. Before continuing on to record a service, it's a good idea to get into the habit of checking you have the correct patient record and service details by referring to the top and the bottom of the record before proceeding. The top of the record displays the patient name and their gender and date of birth. Check these details are correct and present before continuing. If you have opened the incorrect patient's record, simply exit and choose Ignore before opening the correct one. If anything here requires adding or altering, open the Biographics record to make this adjustment. The bottom of the record displays the service details, including your name, the place and mode you are working from, and the date and time. The place refers to the service or the team you are working with, and the encounter mode, which is shown in brackets, refers to the way you are delivering this service to a patient. If anything requires changing, click the button to the left of the service details and choose the appropriate option. For example, rather than a face-to-face visit at the service, a patient may have had a home visit or a telephone call. If it's a service a patient has not been involved in, the mode Administration No Client Contact should be selected. If the service took place on a different date or at a different time, this can be changed here. Anything recorded in Communicare will have a timestamp against it of when it was actually recorded, and the date and time here is intended to reflect when you actually saw the patient if it was not here and now. Once you have checked the top and the bottom of the record, you may now proceed and record your service. At a minimum, every service recorded should generally consist of recording both clinical items and progress notes. Clinical items are a formal way to record any diagnosis, presentation, procedure, or activity of any kind, and can be added using the button at the top of the record, and then searching for the items using the Clinical Terms browser. Clinical items may also be added using quick access buttons located in the bottom left-hand corner of the clinical record. Quick access buttons are customisable features in Communicare. What they are called and what they contain may vary between health services, depending on the requirements of each organisation. It's important to note that the choices on quick access buttons are a subset of all clinical item types available, and if you can't find what you're looking for, you can choose the option to browse all item types or add a clinical item using the Terms browser from the toolbar. The next step is to record free text notes as required. Your progress note will already be populated with the clinical items and any associated measurements and comments that have been recorded. It now remains to include any additional information about the service you believe is relevant. Please remember, progress notes are for recording free text only. Any formal details or measurements must be recorded as a clinical item. Complete the service by exiting the record using the X in the top right-hand corner. If the service you're recording for is today, you will be presented with the question, "Is this service now complete?" to which there are 4 possible responses. Cancel will return you to the clinical record. Use this option if you didn't intend to close. Ignore will close the clinical record and it will not record a service. It is very important to use Ignore if you have not recorded any information. Use this option when you have opened the wrong patient's record or when you have just been reading previous notes. The option "No patient will see another provider" should be used when the patient will not physically at this stage be leaving the site and will be seen by another staff member before leaving. For example, a patient with a wound may see a nurse for dressing after they have seen a doctor. If the patient is to see another provider, the service message can be used for communication to other staff, such as "Ready to see nurse." This information will be visible in the service recording module next to the patient's name. The option for "Yes, this service is now complete" is to be used when the service has concluded and the patient will be leaving the site. Any backdated services will simply close without this question. In our scenario, the patient is now completely finished and ready to leave, so we will choose "Yes." Staff who are required to claim or to select Medicare items for their services and who have been set up as such by their administrator will have a pop-up at the end of their service, so they can tick and either save or claim now any Medicare items as desired. Otherwise, the records will simply close and return you to the toolbar. For any questions, please refer to your local Communicare administrator or contact our help desk. Further information and education sheets are available from the resources section of the Communicare website, www.communicaresystems.com.au.